It has been over 24 hours since the Premier League officially charged Manchester City with over 100 charges related to rule breaking surrounding financial fair play regulations, surrounding accounting issues and accounting errors, surrounding their managerial and player remuneration dating all the way back to the Mancini days, and just a bunch of other charges that seem a little bit more innocuous than the main ones. And I've heard a lot of Manchester City fans and I've heard a lot of rival fans give their opinions on this. And after 24 hours, I think I'm ready to just give my thoughts on this entire situation. So first and foremost, what's next for Manchester City? And more importantly, what's next for Manchester City fans? If your club is to be found guilty, what happens then? I'm sure a lot of you will go and support other clubs because most of you are plastic fans. That's a joke. I'm just kidding. I'm sure most of you will stand by your club and I'm sure most of you will stay loyal to your club. But does this tarnish everything? Does this tarnish the Aguero moments? Does this tarnish all the beautiful memories of Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, all the great players that you've had in this short period of time post 2009? Does this tarnish the memories and the legacy that has been left by Pep Guardiola, by Mancini, by your other manager? I forget who it is between Mancini and Pep Guardiola. I just can't remember. Right? Does this tarnish what Manchester City are trying to build as a football club? Because I think it does. I think it delegitimizes everything, regardless of the punishment. If you guys get away with it and get a little slap on the wrist and a little 10 million fine or a small transfer ban, I still think that's an admission of guilt. That's an admission on the Premier League that they have found you guilty and therefore you cheated. And even though the consequences aren't severe, it doesn't change the severity of the crime. On the other hand, if Manchester City are found innocent, which a lot of people aren't talking about because as a rival fan, I'm supposed to put on my red tinted glasses and pretend that regardless of the outcome, Manchester City are guilty. So if Manchester City get found guilty, they're obviously guilty. If they get found innocent, it's only because they bribed the lawyers. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be non-biased, as I always try to be on this channel. And I'm going to say that I'm going to give Man City the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's pretend they are innocent. What then? If they are Manchester City fans, please let me know in the comments down below because there's a lot of fans who don't really rate Man City anyways, who think that Manchester City aren't legitimate anyways, that Man City are ruining football anyways just because of the exorbitant amount of money they spend in comparison to other clubs. And you may say that Manchester United spend a lot of money, Arsenal spend a lot of money, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, but the difference between all of those clubs and Man City is the organic growth. It's the fact that we've organically become self-sustainable clubs through our history, which is something that apparently Manchester City doesn't have. With the inside jokes, you guys have no fans, your stadiums are empty, yada, yada, yada. You didn't exist before 2009. All the dead banter that rivals throw at you guys every week. Right. So do you guys feel at all threatened by that, or are you using that as motivation? Because I've had a lot of Manchester City fans say something along the lines of, they all just want to see us fail. They all just want to see us fail. This is all jealousy. The Premier League have an agenda against us. The other clubs don't want to see Manchester City enter that top echelon of football and sit at the tables with the Liverpools, with the Manchester Uniteds, with the Arsenals. I've heard Manchester City fans say these words. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to name names, but I've listened to a few Manchester City podcasts and they're all saying almost the same thing. They're basically just defending their club. And some of them, to be fair, saying we don't know if Man City is guilty or not. Some of them are actually being big enough to say, you know what, maybe my club is doing something shady. However, there's still an element of siege mentality brewing in the Manchester City fan base. There's an element of it's us against the world. They're trying to come up against us. And I find that fascinating because it's almost like when a person gets accused of something and they get arrested or they get charged and they have to go to court and suddenly they just start blaming the government and they start talking about how, it's this political group. They just want to see me fail. That's why they're planting me with all this evidence. And instead of taking accountability or alternatively, if they are genuinely innocent, just shutting up and defending themselves, they have to bring everybody down with them. They have to lash out. They have to build this weird siege mentality of, oh, you're only doing it because you're jealous. It's like, I don't think most rival fans are doing it because they're jealous. Yes, we want to see Man City get relegated. Yes, it would be beautiful if we woke up one morning and Manchester City was in League One and there was less competition in the Premier League. Obviously, that would be great. But I think there is merit to the suspicion around the sudden rise of Manchester City. I do. I think there is merit. I don't think it guarantees that Manchester City are guilty. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think there is merit, having listened to people break it down, the financial part of Manchester City related to their sponsorship, related to some of the deals they've done, having listened to how people explain and break down football structure, like actual experts, not just YouTubers. it starts to make sense why people are questioning how Manchester City have built what they've built so quickly, how they've managed to build a club that is not only making more revenue than some of the biggest brands in the world that are built on 100 years of history, but also have world-class training facilities, a world-class manager, a world-class squad, a world-class youth system and youth academy and youth infrastructure, a world-class accounting department, financial department, etc., etc. To do that in the space of time that Manchester City have done it is always going to warrant some sort of suspicion, which I think is merited, if that's even a real word, or valid is a better word. I think it's valid. I don't think it's right or correct, but I think it's valid. As somebody who doesn't necessarily agree with it, I can understand it, because understanding someone doesn't mean you necessarily agree with them. Like, I can understand why somebody likes fizzy drinks, but I personally don't like fizzy drinks. Doesn't mean I don't understand why they like fizzy drinks when they explain to me why they like fizzy drinks. Oh, it's sweet, it gives me a rush. Oh, I understand that, but it's not for me. So I disagree, but I still understand. Get it? So I understand why people have suspicion towards Manchester City. But as I said in my video yesterday, I have a lot of respect for what Pep Guardiola's built at Manchester City. So I know I'm in the minority. I don't really believe that they've done anything nefarious. But my opinion will change if they are found guilty, obviously. So we'll just have to wait and see. A part of me wants to see City get relegated, obviously as a rival fan. A part of me wants to see Man City get punished. A part of me is starting to question Manchester City, having listened to so many people break this down and talk about it. But I don't know. And I'm not going to jump just because it's the popular opinion, because we don't do that on this channel. So it is what it is. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below, especially if you're a Manchester City fan. Leave a like on the video and subscribe. Peace.